Hello, my name is Linnea from Linnea Loves Music, and today we're going to be talking about, are you too old to be in the music industry? I normally don't like to talk about accolades or things that I've done, but you might even be wondering, like, why in the world does this girl think that she can post a video about being in the music industry, and what even gives her the credentials to even have any voice? In answer to that question, I would say that I grew up in a family that was in the music industry. I had a father who professionally toured, an aunt and uncle who professionally toured. My father had a record company and a touring company and a publishing, and would record and did event management, and they would put on huge conferences for thousands and thousands of people. And I've seen everything in the music industry through those years, and being behind the scenes of what does it take to put on a tour. I toured with my father first, and then eventually toured myself, put out my own album, toured all over. As a songwriter, was a finalist in a John Lennon songwriting competition. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on of the different things that I've done over the years and different experiences that I've had being in a family that literally has had their hands in every aspect of the music business. And even though I'm not touring to the extent that I used to tour, now I'm more kind of in the realm where I am teaching more, teaching people to follow their dreams. My heart is for people dreaming. But also with that, I also want to be realistic, because I think being a teacher, it would not serve me or you any good if I was not honest completely and fully about this question. So as I answer this question, understand I am coming from a place that I am totally for you following your dreams. I think doing music is a really healthy thing for us. It helps us deal with emotions and feelings and express ourselves, and we can heal the world with our music. It's a beautiful thing. It's really easy for me to just say, yes, do it. But for me to just say, yes, do it, is not a very complete answer. And I want to make sure that I'm honest with you, because then you can come to this question with honesty and transparency. So with that in mind, let's go. So I think the first question that you have to ask yourself is, why do you want to be in the music industry? And this is a very important question to ask yourself, because some of us will get this idea, from when you're a teenager, that if only I'm famous, it will fix all of the world's problems, and I will be happy, and everybody will love me, and I will be in a limo, and people will take my picture, and I'll be fantastic. And being in the music industry doesn't fix your problems, but you just have a different set of problems, which we're going to talk about a few of those things. But the thing is that if you're coming from it from an honest place of you want to make music, you love and get excited about music, then it doesn't matter whether or not you reach that level of fame and success, because really it doesn't matter how old you are. Reaching a level of like a certain degree of notoriety is really like winning the lottery. You have to make sure that when you're coming to this question, that you're coming from an honest place of, this is something I want to do. I need this to survive, and I want to share this joy with others. Then no matter what happens, you will have succeeded. The next question that you have to ask yourself is, are my expectations realistic? This can be hard because it's hard to be honest with ourselves, because I think as a musician, I'm a musician, I'm a dreamer. I have dreams and expectations of like all these things and places that I could go and people that I could see or visit and all this stuff. It's like crazy in the head, like it's amazing. But our expectations can be unrealistic. And it doesn't mean that you can't eventually get there, but you want to be realistic with where you are today. And one of the reasons why I suggest this is because, for instance, just throw something out. If you're in a situation where you know that maybe you're older, you're married, you have a few kids, you know that you're not going to be able to go on a crazy big tour, and probably realistically you might sell 300 to 500 albums. Literally going out and spending $25,000 or $50,000 on an album is unrealistic. You will never recoup the cost. And then you will just wind up being broke, not able to recoup your costs, and then probably burnt up and give up on your dream just because you made an unrealistic expectation for yourself from the beginning. However, if you're realistic for where you are today and you plan things with, this is a realistic goal, you work towards the goal, the next time you can always take it up a notch. But you want to make sure that you are aware of what is possible and you're not setting yourself up for failure, but you're setting yourself up for success. Another great question to ask yourself is it possible for you to have a side gig while you're working on your music? This is important because I know, musicians, we're dreamers. There's something incredibly romantic and beautiful about, I'm just gonna live in a 15-passenger van, be broke, make no money, be starving, not be able to pay my bills, and who even cares? Believe me, I've done it, and I have so many fun and weird and awkward stories. It's important to think about financially. Is there some way to support your new endeavor? There's ways for you to either have a side gig or have multiple streams of revenue. I remember my dad telling me stories. Now, there were times when he needed to pay the bills, and so he would do duplication services, and he would record people who needed to have different recordings done, and he would do a number of different side gigs to help pay the bills. Another thing that you want to ask yourself too about pursuing a career or maybe a fun side hobby gig, is the style of music that you're looking at doing age appropriate? And that's tough, you know, because if you're 65, maybe you shouldn't be the next part of the next teen boy band, because it ain't gonna work. Maybe country, maybe jazz, maybe classic rock. There's a lot of different options. Or maybe you are the music producer that produces those amazing pop songs and you do it that way. But you always want to be thinking about, like, what is realistic for where I'm at? What is realistic with my time and my commitments? What will give me the lifestyle that I want in the boundaries that I want it? Another really good question to ask yourself is, am I talented enough ... today? And the reason why I phrase the question that way is I think there is a lot of value in being realistic where you are today. And if you can be realistic with where you are today and where your skills are today, you're going to have more success, but it also gives you the opportunity to know which skills you need to work on. Let's say you're an amazing singer, but you cannot songwrite to save your life, and everything you write is horrible. And you can be honest with yourself that you are just not there yet. There is no shame in not being there yet. You can either get songwriters who will write for you, or maybe you go, okay, I'm gonna use some songwriters on some songs, and then on some others I really want to start to develop this skill. Like I know it's not a strength of mine today, but that doesn't mean it can't be a strength of mine tomorrow. So maybe I work with some amazing songwriters and I do a co-writing song project, so I write with other writers that help take my skills to the next level. Well, I think there can be a lot of negativity around, can you pursue a music career as you're older? Because let's just be honest, in our society there is such a fixation on being young. There's this very specific image on what beauty and success is supposed to look like. And unfortunately, we live in a world where there can be a lot of negative views on what age actually looks like in the music industry. But I think it's important to also ask yourself, are there benefits to being older in the music industry? And I really think that it is, because you hear so many stories about really young people who get taken advantage of. They don't know their worth and they sign up for things that really they deserve better. And there's something about being older and saying, no, I'm not okay with that. And I think that's a huge benefit to being in the music industry older. And I think another really huge benefit of being in the music industry older is that you have a lot of wisdom. You've had a lot of life. And there's something to be said when you have that much life going for you and so many experiences, it just opens the opportunity for so many songs creatively because you've lived so much. So you have so much to say. So I think there's a lot of positives to being in the music industry when you're older. So what if you've been in the music industry for a while and you are wondering if now is the time to give up? This can be hard. There can be things that can get in the way of you seeing your dream and seeing your passion take place. And that's the reason why I want to be so honest in this video. If you can be realistic with your expectations, it's going to help you also not get burned out so fast. So here are some questions that you really should be asking yourself. Number one, is music still your joy? Where you get your excitement for in your day? Or has it just become pain, anger, and hurt? Number two, are you in the right field in the music industry? There are so many different fields in the music industry that are endless. Maybe the area that you're in, it might have fit a really long time ago, but maybe it doesn't fit you now. Maybe you are 50 and you no longer want to be sleeping in a van anymore, or you have kids at home and this lifestyle doesn't work for you the way that it used to. Or maybe you're recognizing that maybe you're not the best songwriter, but you're a really great music producer. So I think evaluating whether or not this is the right place for you is really important, because sometimes we can get frustrated with the music industry or with being involved in music and we want to give up. But actually, it's not the music industry that's the issue, it's that you're in the wrong place. The next thing that you need to ask yourself is, are you being realistic with the amount of money that you are receiving? And is there some way to take that pressure off? Sometimes you want to give up on things because financially things, they just don't make sense anymore. You don't want to be broke. You want to pay your bills. You don't want to have that stress anymore. You're too old to be broke, basically. And if that's the issue why you're wanting to give up, you need to ask yourself, is there some way that I can financially make this work? Where I can keep doing my dream and maybe I can supplement my income in a different way, or maybe I work in a different field or part of the music industry. The other thing to ask is, once again, are your expectations realistic? Did you come into this thinking, I will only have made it if I have a Grammy within X amount of years? I will only have made it if I've heard my song on the radio. I've only made it if I've received these awards and these accolades, or if I'm making X amount of money. And so you need to ask yourself, are you not liking it because your expectations weren't realistic from the beginning? Another really important thing to think about is about your overarching career in the music industry. Not just about where you want to be tomorrow, but where do you want to be in 10 years, in 20 years? Do you imagine yourself still singing live on stages at 80 years old? Some people do. Or do you see yourself transitioning to a slightly different lifestyle? Maybe you're the concert promoter and you put together conferences and thousands of people come to your event and you put it together and you organize it and you're able to be more at home, but you're still able to be in that music industry. Where do you see yourself? And then after that, what steps do you need to take to make sure that you're moving on that trajectory? So, in summary, are you too old to be in the music industry? I would have to definitely say absolutely not. But I encourage you to be realistic with your expectations, to be thinking about the whole process, and you have something amazing to bring to music. You just have to find the right fit for you. I encourage you to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.